Hello REVSOUL, welcome you all guys to a new video. Today I just brought the most fuel efficient bike from Bajaj, the Bajaj CT110X. So let's get to know about the bike, starting with the paint finish. The bike has got a similar glossy paint finish that we did find in the Platina, and the paint quality is also similar to the Bajaj Platina. And looking on the lighting setup, we get all halogen lighting setup. The headlight, indicators and the tail lights are completely halogen, but we do get a LED DRL in the front side, which will be helpful at night time. And talking about the headlight throw, in the night time it provides a decent light throw, not as bright as the LED, but still provides a decent light throw in the night time. And indicators, we get the good looking bright LED, halogen indicators, which is also has a better build quality too. And looking at the tail lights, we again get a halogen tail light setup for the rear side, and the tail lights look somewhat cute for this bike. And before jumping on the bike, let's check out the seats. We get a much lengthier seat for the bike and also much wider too, so we get ultimate comfort on this bike. And the padding is also much softer for the rider, and of course the pillion, and surprisingly the pillion room is also much greater, so pillion will be happy in this motorcycle. And getting on the bike, the first thing to be noted will be the seat height. The bike has got a seat height of like 8-10 millimeter. I'm a 5'8" guy. I have got planted foot on both sides, so no issue for me with the seat height. And if you guys are like 5 foot, don't need to worry, because you guys can also easily manage this bike, because the bike weighs only like 124 kilograms, so it's so much easier to move around the parking lot too. And looking on the handlebar switches, we get the pass button, the bright and dim button integrated into a single switch. We get the indicators, the horn, and the right side we get the headlight function, the turn on or turn off the headlights, and below that the ignition. Very basic stuff. And we also get a Type A charging port to charge our phones while on the ride. And before turning on the meter console, let's check out the keys. These are the very basic keys that Bajaj provide for their CT110 customers. A very basic key, not even a Bajaj logo engraved into it. A very basic key, so much depressing for the key. And turning on the meter console, we get a fully analog meter console with the analog speedometer, odometer, the fuel indication, and the warning. So very basic stuff, no complexity in the meter console too. And there is also no Bluetooth compatibility stuff, so don't need to worry about connecting your phones to this machine. Now let's dive into the main part of the motorcycle, the fuel efficient driven, the fuel efficient tuned engine. We get a 115.45cc single cylinder air cooled engine. Even though the power figures are somewhat comparable to the Pulsar bikes, like the 9.5 PS and 9.9 Newton meters of torque, the power delivery is not comparable to the Pulsar, because this is a completely fuel efficient driven engine, so the top speed is also compromised for the fuel efficiency. And we also get a greater 170 millimeter ground clearance too, so don't need to worry about anything hitting out your bash plate or anything. And braking, we get a 130 millimeter drum braking setup in the front side, and a 110 millimeter drum braking setup in the rear side too. And the braking setup is much more progressive. And if you guys are looking for high speed commuters, then don't look for this bike, because the braking is not that great, and of course the top speed is also not that great for the motorcycle. And the tires, we get the TVS Eurogrip dual purpose tires for the motorcycle with 2.75 inch, that is 70 section tires in the front side, and a 3 inch, that is like 76.2 section tires in the rear side. And since it's a dual purpose tires, the bike can go anywhere, and not just because of the tires, because the engine capability and the overall biking is completely set for that. You guys can just set the routes, bike is always ready for the ride. And we also get the tube tires, not the tubeless, again another drawback for the bike. And now looking on the suspension, which is one of the strong point for the CT110, we get a 125 millimeter telescopic suspension in the front side, and a spring suspension in the rear side, which we have already seen in the Platina. This rear suspension is set so that it can carry heavy loads and also provide comfort while traveling through like uneven routes. And the comfortable suspension do provide a comfortable ride for the CT110X. We could also say that the bike is a bit smaller adventure bike, because Bajaj has provided us small features like the protectors for the headlights, the crash guard, and top box setup with dual side like sari guards too. So you guys can also take this for small adventure rides. And the kicker is also available for the bike, which much of the uncles are needed for when looking for a bike. And the silver coating, the silver color, this plating is also much impressive for the exhaust side. So let's hear the exhaust note and go for a short ride. It's so much quieter in the ideal. Since it's a 110cc, there's nothing to be expected more. And because of the all new BS6 and other things, exhaust sound is much more like quieter than the older bikes. Okay, let me give a bit of a throttle. Okay guys, that's it. Now let's go for a short ride on the mileage driven Bajaj CT 110X. Finally we have reached the main road, so let's see how the Bajaj CT 110X performs. Like you guys can see, the road is a bit too trafficy. Let's talk about the other details before directly jumping in the performance side. Let's talk about the mirrors. The mirrors are built very well, showing us every single details behind our back, and the design is always, the design is also suiting this kind of a commuter bike. And talking about the fuel efficiency, that's the main thing for the bike, right? Right now we get a fuel efficiency of like 65 to 70 kilometer per liter on cities, which are great numbers for a 115cc motorcycle. And if you guys are taking this bike on highways, it can also rise to like 75 to 80 at times for this bike, 80 kilometers per liter if you guys are riding very much decently on this bike. And looking at the performance side, even though the bike is not delivering a performance of the proper Pulsar, since the engine is completely tuned for a fuel efficiency, we still get that power for overtaking like small buses and cars. And talking about the handling, even with the pillion, it's so much easier to like filter the traffic and all, so no issue with the handling and stuff. The bike handles like a butter, and the comfort is one of the major things for the bike. And even with the pillion, the comfort is on great level because of the suspension settings, the softer front telescopic and the spring and spring suspension in the rear side. Even while going through potholes, we definitely, we can't even find that the bike has gone through the pothole because the suspension acts that greatly, giving us a very comfortable ride. And the vibration side is also great for the bike. The vibrations are very much less while riding it on economy speeds like 30 to 50, and vibration starts increasing after like 70 km per hour. Mainly like vibrations are felt on the foot pegs and a very little vibrations on the handlebars, and the vibration gradually increases, making the ride worse after like 95 km per hour. So the sweet spot for the machine would be like 50, 45, 50, which the company recommends for the bike to get a greater fuel efficiency too. And talking about the braking is not that impressive, just like the Splendor, because even the front brakes are much more progressive than the Splendor. So the braking distance is also much more increased. So if you guys are traveling at speeds of like 70-80 km per hour, both brakes, the front brakes and rear brakes, are required to completely stop the machine. And we also get the combined braking system, so that when applying the rear brakes, the front brakes are also applied to quickly stop the motorcycle. Finally, looking on the pricing side, right now the Bajaj CT 110X cost about like 71,500 rupees for this bike on KL at Trivandrum. For such a pricing, is such a great deal. We get a complete beginner commuter with the very simple needed details, with the simple needed features for the daily rides. And this bike is mainly concentrating on daily rides, city rides, and for purpose like delivery purpose, so that you guys can have a comfortable ride even with the huge loads too. And with these kind of features like USB Type A charging ports facility, you guys can also charge your phones while on the ride too. And that's it for the review of the Bajaj CT 110X. I think I have told you every single details needed to be known. If still there are any doubts, feel free to comment. I'll be there to clear all your doubts. So let's catch up in the next video. Until then, it's a bye from me. Bye guys.